We are out here at our trellis bean garden. We put these trellises in a few years ago just so that we could trellis up climbing vegetables such as beans. And it happens to be that every year we end up putting our rattlesnake green beans out here, and they've not been affected by us planting out here every year. We always seem to get a really good crop. We use these cattle panels, we cut them to about, I don't know, 10, 12 foot long, nailed them down to the top of our 7-foot fence up here, and then just kind of put them staked to the ground over there. Then we about 18 inches wide, we come through and we till the dirt up. Since we first put ours in, we've come along this year and we've put in cedar boards. We got to come back and we got to take this grass section out, and we're going to continue putting cattle panels in to fill in, since these seem to do so well for us. But if you can see, the concept here is when the rattlesnake green beans get about waist high, that's when they start putting on green beans. So we don't have to bend down to pick our green beans. Whenever they arch, all the green beans hang right out in the front, and you don't have to go digging through the foliage for them. They're just right here and easy for us to get to. And I really enjoy coming out here and picking green beans, whereas if I have to sit to bend over and pick beans off of a bush plant, I don't seem to enjoy that as much. Now this crop of green beans is an organic crop. The only thing we did is we put in some chicken dirt out of our chicken pen, and we put just a little amendment of that in here. And then I used my Espoma organic fertilizer to fertilize these beds before we put them in. And that's all we've done to them. We have never sprayed these with any kind of dust to prevent bugs. There's no disease on them. We put them in the ground and they just take off. They do their thing. And as you see, we got a bunch of little beans that are still coming on. We've got blooms at the top here. They'll continue to grow all the way up to the top of our 7-foot fence up here. And then we'll pick them starting here for the rest of the season all the way up. And we generally get about 4 or 5 pickings off of these beans before they're done. And then if we wanted to, we could come back at about August, and we could put another batch in if we didn't get enough green beans. And we may do that. We may come along and plant more green beans just to keep adding to the amount of food that we're storing up due to the food shortage that's coming. And so if you've got a little place but you don't have a place for a full-on garden and you want to put a little trellis, think about something like this. We went to Tractor Supply. We got these cattle panels, $24 a piece, I think. And then we stuck them in the dirt and then stuck them to the top. That's it. And then you can grow a year's supply of green beans. We've grown a year's supply of green beans on just 4 panels. So we put an extra panel in the dirt this year. We've got a few more that we can add. We could stick in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more panels. So we could practically double our harvest. Or we can come in and we could plant just green beans, a certain part of this, and then go on down and plant a different type of green bean, or an alternate climbing vegetable, maybe a little small Seminole or Cherokee tan pumpkin, and we can let our little pumpkins hang down. Now on the other side of this fence here, this is where we trellis our tomatoes. If you've watched any of our videos over there, I went over and showed you all of that. So our tomatoes are doing good. I got one on the end down there that we're paying special attention to, and it's 6 foot tall now. And all of our plants, they're loaded with tomatoes. I got one plant that's not doing so well, but I went ahead and see if it would fight through and pull through the disease that's on it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get busy and finish picking some of these green beans off here before the rain hits. We haven't had rain almost the entire month of May. It did this to us last year. We ended up with a drought in May, and then our fruit trees and plants suffered from it. And then after that, it seems like the rains didn't want to stop after the May drought. And July ended up being a very wet month for us. Put a few peas in the pan, snap the ends off, and then snap them in half so you get nice fingerling size beans. Snap it, snap it, snap, snap. Now this is our third picking since the first pieces of video that you just saw. We're going to snap these beans up real quick, and we're going to put them in jars and do some pressure canning. Probably take me about an hour to snap all these. All right, we got them all snapped. We're ready to put them all into jars. So I pulled out 4 clean jars out of my cabinet that we had ready. We're just packing these down into jars. When I'm putting them in jars, you'll notice there's big gaps of airspace that's down in there. So when you're packing green beans, if you just give them a little settling motion every once in a while, that helps them work them right into place. So those green beans settle right, fill up all those air pockets down in there. This was a fairly small batch this time. We did a batch probably a little bit bigger than this last time. And here those jars are over here. And we've already eaten one of those jars. We had it the other night. And Michelle and Maya said it's probably the best green beans they have ever had. So I have to agree, these beans turned out really good. Nice tender. We didn't let them go to full maturity. By full maturity, I mean a nice thick bean like that. The majority of the ones were smaller green beans, and they seem to taste a lot better whenever you can get them a little bit smaller and not let them get to full size. If you notice, we got several different types of lids here. These are the ball disposable lids that you can get at any dollar store or Walmart. And then up here we have Harvest Guard reusable lids. And that's what we're going to can with today. Now, every canning that I've ever done with these lids have held. I've never had one fail. And so, so far I've been impressed with them. We went online to Harvest Guard and we ordered the small mouth and we ordered the large mouth, equal amounts of each one. So when you get the Harvest Guard lids, they come with a lip that fit right into the jar. They also come with a stack of rubber gaskets. And then we'll show you how they go on there in just real quick. Put the rubber on like that and set it right down in the jar, and that's how that works. We're going to go ahead and finish packing these jars, and we're going to put a teaspoon of salt in. And we're going to top them up with water for canning. That one got away. Just shy of 4 good jars. All right, now we got to put salt in there. When you're putting salt, you want about a teaspoon, so I'm just going to measure them out right here in my hand.
That's how professionals do it.
Yeah, that's a little more than a teaspoon, but we'll go ahead and put that in there. Now we used kosher salt. It doesn't really matter what type of salt you use, you just do not want to use table salt. Table salt will turn your green beans orange from the iodine that's in there. Now, if that's all you have, and you don't have access to anything else, of course, use it. Especially in hard times, not able to find anything as much stuff on the shelf as you used to. Use it if you have it. All right, I'm gonna put water in these. We use filtered water to put in our jars. We do not use chlorinated water to go in our bodies or preserve our food with. We went ahead and ordered these lids last year because we knew that times were going to be getting tough down the road. We didn't know that it would be this quick, but I'm glad that we went ahead and ordered them. They were on back order for 5 months before we got these Harvest Guard lids. And I haven't looked on there recently to see what the situation is with their shipping. But hopefully people are buying them because they're going to be needing them. A lot of people are reporting that the disposable ball canning jar lids are in short supply. Some people are having hard times finding them, especially during normal canning season. But even more so since more people are wanting to put up their vegetables and raise their own food. So these Harvest Guard reusable lids, I believe, are a very good investment. Give them all a good snug down, not over tightened by any means. Now you want to put 3 quarts of water. This is our Presto 23 quart canner. Measure out 3 quarts of water. And I got a rack in the bottom of this one. You do not want to put jars directly on the bottoms. The heat directly in contact with between the bottom and the jars will bust your jars. And also you don't want to keep your jars from rattling in here. So we just kind of space them out when we can. Unless we have a full load, then we keep them in there nice and tight, and that's okay too. Give them plenty of room so they don't rattle, because if they rattle, they may risk busting also. I'm going to go ahead and put that on high heat. That'll probably take 20 or 30 minutes for this to come up to a boiling temperature. And then we're going to put our pressure canning lid on. Line our arrows up on the lid and with the handle there. See, there's an arrow right there on top. Mm-hmm. And then lock it down. And I'll spin it around so I can read the gauge here. Now when that gets hot, we'll notice a little bit of steam coming out. Then we're going to put our 15-pound PSI weight on there, and then we'll put it under pressure and keep it between 10 to 15 pounds of pressure for about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll turn it off and we'll let it come back down on pressure on its own. Now, if you don't have the jars right in there, these things will boil out the excess moisture. So when you take your jars out, you may be missing some moisture like that. I don't know exactly what causes that. Maybe I'll look into it today, but you notice these look good. There's beans and there's water all the way to the top. And like I just showed you, these two right here do not have water all the way up to the top anymore. It boiled out. I don't know if it was because I didn't have the rings on tight enough or what was going on, but I kept it at proper pressure and under proper temperatures. So, okay, now we'll give this time to come up and we'll see the results. All right, all done, pressure's off. This is the first time. Let the condensation roll back down in the jar there. Make sure you move away from the pot so you don't burn yourself from any kind of residual steam that may be in there. We're going to use our jar tongs. We'll grab our jars out of here. Yeah, those look pretty good. That one maintained all the liquid. So I think the secret was to give them a nice little tight turn. Now we take them out of here and they don't have that little additional pressure on them. They're starting to bubble up because they're still hot. Now this one lost some water out of the jar, but the green beans are completely covered. That may be the original level that I put them in there at. I don't remember. Now when these cool down, we'll take these rings off of here. You want to take your rings off to make sure you have a proper seal. You should be able to pick the jar up from the lid to make sure the lids are properly sealed. Now if you take those rings off of there after they've cooled down and they've sealed, and that lid comes off there, you know that's a fail and you need to hurry up and eat those green beans. Some people talk about reprocess them. Some people will just put them into the refrigerator for a couple of days, up to a couple of days until they can eat them with one of their meals. All right, guys, that's it. That's how we do our green beans. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us along on our additional videos and see what else we bring you. And don't forget to keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. And together, we're Farmington Famous.